nerfed. Which is, okay, how about NA DPC? Because I know SEA, China DPC, we didn't see that much Wyvern. This was an animator thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
How about NA DPC?
We saw Wyvern.
You did?
It wasn't with this Holy Locket, though. It was you know, the Witch's Blade, right-clicking Wyvern.
Oh, you saw core Wyvern?
Yeah, well, no, so for Wyvern, but building these kind of core items, Orchid and Witch's Blade.
Okay.
It looked good, and I think that's one of the big reasons why this hero is so viable as a first phase, because there are multiple ways of building her. You can do the Witch's Blade and be a right-clicker. You can go for the Ether Lens and be a kind of counter-initiator hero. And then you can also...
We saw Aghanim Scepter yesterday, which was pretty nice.
There's a lot that you can do that makes the Wyvern really viable, which is cool.
Magnus getting Respect banned out against Alliance, because they also have the flex potential, like we mentioned, Limp or S4. And Alliance also banning out the 23 Savage Monkey King. Still has his Morphling available, which at this point, I don't even consider it to be like one of his favorite heroes, because he just has not been playing it that much this tournament.
I'm sorry, I can't respond to that, but I gotta say, I know why Whitemon stands in trees so much during his games, and why he's counter pushing and all of this stuff. He's eating chips during the game.
Oh, that's why.
That's what is happening. Yeah.
Yo, he should play some Bane.
I know Zephyr does that as well, but Whitemon he's always sitting in the safe lane defending the tower. He's eating. That's what's happening.
I believe it. We saw Lanham doing a lot of that in China DPC. He would be sitting around in trees as Bane, Quelling Blade his way around, probably munching on some chips.
That's a sick item, by the way. I love Quelling Blade on support heroes.
Puck still not banned, so I assume T1 is gonna get it, and they also picked line, so they are possibly protecting that like pick against themselves. If Alliance gets Puck, you still have Doom, you still have instant initiation once Lion gets the Hex. And for Alliance, they're protecting the backlines with Spectre. I see it quite often whenever there's Winter Wyvern pick, so you do not want to get instantly jumped or forced to use it only on Spectre to be able to run away.
Yeah, I think the Puck...
You think a lot.
I think so much all the time. It's just...
It's overwhelming
such
at times.
a problem. It's such a problem. Anyway, Puck would be great because there are a couple of ways you can look at it. The Winter Wyvern, I should say, is decent against Puck because you can set up with Curse, and that sets up for... Okay, so it's banned out. It's not happening. I heard Puck screaming in my ear. Yeah, there it goes. Just like that.
Yeah. Just like every night.
Makes a lot of sense.
I hear Pudge screaming in my ears every single night.
I hear fresh meat every once in a while.
He just wants to be viable.
I know.
Maybe next patch. That's all we can hope for.
I talked to the frog. You saw me in this opening panel. My little friend right here on my desk panel.
What are we gonna get here? What's still in there?
I mean, they knew the Doom was coming. They 100% knew that the Doom was going to be first phased. Part of the solution does seem Centaur, that you can run away from him, but also now you need to think of heroes that don't care about getting doomed, such as...
Raid King, who is banned.
Okay, apparently Shadow Demon.
Shadow Demon Centaur, great lane, set up for the Centaur Stomp.
Ooh.
Lots of damage. The Shadow Demon's W does a lot of base damage, and then you set up for the Centaur to do his little bit of nuking. It's often enough to kill people between these two. And we got a Zephyr. Oh no, yeah, Zephyr Treant.
So forget about the Puck. You need to keep people in place. Use the Treant Protector, Overgrowth.
Yeah, that's pretty much the simple counter to it since Puck was banned out. Not a big fan of Shadow Demon plus Wyvern, both defensive supports. They don't tend to play aggressive, and it's also a good stun. Let's say you get out of the disruption, either stomp from a Centaur, which Doom will be having, or Lion stun into Overgrowth, into slow. So a lot of stuff to be set up at.
Shadow Fiend, Limp Shadow Fiend in 2021?
Okay.
You shift this Doom to position 3 right now and just take something on the mid lane, because it's really not that pleb. I mean, you can still get the gold with Doom, that there's no doubt about it, especially if Shadow Fiend pushes out the wave, but I would prefer if it's something that puts a lot more pressure on the Shadow Fiend.
Now, normally I would say, like, oh, maybe a Templar Assassin, but that doesn't feel like a very Carl kind of hero. And they can also save it for the last phase, so they don't need to rush it. They already know the matchup, unless they're worried about bans.
Seems like a pretty good Storm Spirit game so far.
Was about to say it. They have no real stuns. You have Centaur Stomp. That's pretty much it.
It's all very projected stuns, and the Yule Scepter is going to come out at a point where Storm's also going to have items. So it's
wait. Are you don't think this is a right-click Shadow Fiend? You think this is a Yule's Shadow Fiend?
It's just that the Yule Shadow Fiend does better versus the Storm, so if he does go for that build, it's still not much of a concern. If he goes for the right-click SF build, then it's no concern whatsoever.
I see.
To be a Storm versus SF.
Man, I remember many moons ago, Alliance famously got Centaur plus Shadow Demon nerfed because Retaliate or Return back then used to work on towers and illusions.
Oh, yes.
And I remember watching a tier 3 high ground siege in the mid lane with two Shadow Demon Centaur illusions, taking it down single-handedly.
I'm shocked that T1 picks Luna into the Shadow Demon. You just imprison Luna and get a better version of her from the illusion.
You don't get to play Dota. I think this is one of the biggest baits I've seen, because Shadow Demon's job will be, I use Disruption and I use ulti on Luna. That's gotta be pretty much it, because there's still one support that can save people. That's Winter Wyvern, can split up the fight with the ulti. So pretty bad matchup overall. It's actually one of the worst matchups you can get for Luna.
Yeah, that's so weird.
I suppose there is some consideration here from T1 about the kind of timing that Alliance is going for with these heroes. As was already mentioned, these two supports are not very aggressive unless you have something that you're specifically setting up for with the SD. Centaur, to me, is not enough. You'd probably need a mid laner that you're setting up for. SF is a little too slow. Maybe Alina would have been better if you want to play fast. And so
she's banned, yeah.
Possibly the Luna is just this idea of, by the time this Luna is countered, we're going to have so many items on her because you are not able to pressure us in the early game.
T1 banning out TB. No surprise there. Imagine having Terrorblade with the reflection on top of Shadow Demon, who makes illusions of Luna. Actually makes it unplayable.
Luna just will not be able to play.
I'm still baffled that they went for it at all, because even if they are going for what you're saying, every item that Luna gets also works against her with the Shadow Demon. So she gets stronger and stronger. I guess Butterfly is somewhat useful.
True.
But yeah, they ban out the Lifestealer.
I think T1, they need something that is going to deal with the SD to make the Luna work. And I would imagine they've already talked about it. Maybe they think that's the Doom. Maybe that's the Lion's job. And possibly they're going to pick some backline jump in the end, maybe a Storm Spirit to take out this SD, because I don't see them picking this without some idea behind it. Obviously, if we know that this is a crazy counter, then they do as well.
They're having so much fun. Like, this team is... it's an old school counter to Shadow Fiend. I don't think it works anymore, considering the Shadow Fiend, all the buffs that he had. But before, Tiny was considered. You know, you just blow him up. But with the addition of the neutral items, raindrops, water runes, I don't think that's doable anymore.
And Nico Baby picks up something demonic sounding. What was that hero?
Oh,
Chaos Knight.
Okay. I like Chaos Knight as a hero, but into tree, it is quite a pain. All of the illusions are rooted, and you become very sad.
Sure, but then if he manages to make his way to a scepter, he also frees everybody when he casts Phantasm.
But he is a carry Chaos Knight, so that'll be like a 5th item.
Or a blessing.
Yeah, true. Lots of Roches.
Yeah, these are weird. I mean, I guess, Illusion Hero with Shadow Demon, that's always a fun combo to do.
Oh, it's Whitemon on Treant Protector, too, so they're playing 5 tree with the Luna.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how I feel about CK. I've seen a lot of CK on the offlane during the Chinese season DPC2, and it looked pretty damn good. As a carry role, when you have a Shadow Fiend on your team, I don't think I like it. Like, you can make some of the extra illusions. Maybe you get a Manta Style or that Axe that you mentioned to be able to get out of the Treant Protector ulti, get those illusions going. But there's a decent amount of AoE coming out from T1. They got Tiny, they got Luna. Sign me up for T1.
In this game, SF should definitely go for the Magic build and have CK be more of the traditional carry. I think that makes a lot more sense with the timing and who they want to fight around. Have you guys played a support late game against current CK? He just stuns you, and there's a CK illusion for 6 seconds doing 100% damage to you. It's the saddest thing to be a support against that hero.
That's the shard we're talking about.
The shard is ridiculous.
But have you heard the gospel of Eon Disc? Let me tell you, if you
you can pop it. You can pop an Eon Disc.
That's true, yeah.
The range on it is so huge that it would legitimately be a counter to Eon Disc, I think. So yeah, pretty good.
Good enough to make you go for Alliance?
Yes, I think so. I like them.
Okay. Well, we'll have to see what these exotic picks are all about. The Luna into the Shadow Demon, Chaos Knight, which Insania actually played as a carry in their Liquid run, but not much success. Let's see how it all goes down. Game number 2 with Capitalist and Kyle.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. We get to see T1. Not only did they get their hands on the Doom again, Kyle, but they also got the Treant Protector, which is the combo that they beat LGD with, I believe, in like game 2 of that series.
Yeah, I can't believe they got Doom. Alliance certainly answer it better, but T1 have demonstrated that this is probably their favorite hero in Dota to utilize, and you can see why when now it's Cuckoo playing it, and they're able to then flex Carl onto a matchup mid that's going to be better suited to taking on SF. I will say I do disagree with Jenkins a little bit in the Magic build SF. I think SFCK is really cool because the minus armor stacking potential, maxed out Presence of the Dark Lord gets you to -7, and then max out Reality Rift is -6 to the target. So that's a pretty impressive amount of physical damage they'll be able to output based on that. But we shall see.
Isn't part of SF versus Luna, like this is a matchup that is pretty old in Dota. Yeah. And if you do go a right-click build, like the advantage that SF has against Luna, like these Drows, for example, they just have the range advantage on Luna.
Yeah, that's the point. You know, you're building for like that butterfly, satanic, daedalus, Scotty timing, right? Which are obviously, those are all very expensive items. But the idea is that yes, you go toe to toe, you have the mixed damage to threaten as well, and then the AoE fear if it's necessary. So, I mean, you're definitely gonna have the Doom target painted on your back this game as Limp, but theoretically his Wyvern should have an easier time helping him out. But once again, I think T1, they're gonna go for these early BKBs. And it's going to make it a lot more difficult for FNG to really turn things around.
Now, they pointed this out. Whitemon is going to be the one playing the Treant Protector. I think it's so interesting that these two supports can kind of swap around. Because, again, the last time that they played this Treant Protector against LGD, they had Lion Treant Protector. It was just they had Zephyr playing the tree and Whitemon playing the Lion. So they are just apparently fearless and just swapping around these heroes between the two of them.
Yeah, and I really like what they've done too. So they play aggro, block the wave offensively, so that they can now ensure lane control with their tri-lane. Both supports are going to block camps with their bodies. This is a really cool way to play Luna. Probably one of the best carries for aggro tri-laning in Dota 2.
Yeah, and it's not like the Doom is going to be that pressured. It looks like he's already taken a bit of damage, but ultimately you have Devour. So even if the lane goes a little bit rough, you always have that farming mechanism. Disruption, and Whitemon takes a bit of damage, but ultimately they're being zoned out of the creep wave right now. That does not feel good.
They got a lot of denies as well, even the support's helping out with a couple. Mid matchup for Carl isn't ideal. I mean, SF is going to farm and he shoves the lane better than you, so end of the day, he will always be able to get water runes. But Tiny does have some really nice kill threat, and both supports could play a role if they want to try and take out Limp. But as you said, top lane Cuckoo, he's just getting XP under tower. He's going to be just fine up here.
Turning on the Whitemon here, who didn't really land the best grass Hanskin. It's actually really going for this one, but I don't think he can actually get the Shadow Poison stacks to kill Whitemon, as it's only level 1 anyway. They're going to block the camps once again and continue to keep the creep equilibrium firmly in their favor. Limp does manage to finally kill that Observer ward, so he is going to have a bit of an advantage on Carl. Not only just the range versus melee matchup, but now an experience advantage as well.
This is one of those really cool maneuvers that I love to see. When you consider like the reason they have this edge in the side lanes is because they game planned around wave control, and obviously Alliance, like they don't expect an aggro tri-lane, so they don't think to do the same top. And if you check up there, you know, Cuckoo still has that wave pretty close under his tower. He rotated jungle, wanted to grab ice armor, so he will miss a full XP on the wave, but you can just see in the CS disparity, like Doom is going to be okay, whereas bottom lane, like they actually just don't have a move. Like once again, the double supports are going to block camps, and Alliance, like they can't stick in the lane. It's way too close to tower, and the chase potential of an Orb of Venom tree. Wait, does that? Okay, I was wondering. I've never seen that interaction before, but yeah, if you're banished, you'll still block the spawn. Okay.
He is going to get stomped here. They're going to build up a lot of damage. These illusions are doing a lot of work, but they're going to turn around onto S4 with Elite C. That'll heal up Whitemon. Then he's not threatened. In fact, he gets the first blood against S4.
Savage. Yeah, he's just keeping lane control. Like, this is beautiful from T1. They're going to trade free farm, but the thing about this is that when you win the aggressive tri-lane and you can keep lane control, it makes it so much harder for Alliance to react, because a support coming top to Cuckoo, he'll have a level advantage. So suddenly in a 2-on-2 scenario, they're going to be able to equalize. Whereas bottom, if a support leaves, Luna with a huge XP and gold advantage is going to be just fine in the 2-on-2 to zone out almost as hard as they're doing currently. Mid, though, that's where Alliance have an edge, and I think Limp may need to get aggressive maybe earlier than he would like in terms of rotating around the map, because no one else on his team really can. They don't have a support that's made to rotate, so it's going to have to be the SF.
In which case, that leads us back to kind of the magic damage build, right? Because that's usually how SFs build if they need to be more aggressive than normal.
I mean, just like, you know, the same way we saw Nothing to Say at the major, you know, on his Leshrac, just kind of move over, grab a rune, couple quick spells, find a kill. I just mean like, hey, I'm level 7 SF, I'm going to grab a rune and I'm going to go kill side lanes.
And that is something that I thought was interesting. I'm glad you mentioned Nothing to Say in the Leshrac. That was how LGD tried to counter Treant Protector, was this overwhelming pushing power. Not this kind of like chip damage where Living Armor is very effective. They would just bulldoze down towers. And I don't think Alliance is going to have that same opportunity.
No, definitely not. And I love the first easy camp spawn Hanskin's going to get is at 5 minutes.
May end up dying here as he's quite low, but never mind. The ice armor, man. What a nice pickup for him. Nico Baby's apparently not slowing down. He's really wants this kill. A 3-second stun, but he still cannot keep chasing as they do manage to kill S4 meanwhile in the bottom lane.
Thing is, if they've put I mean, that's a lot of points in Chaos Bolt early on. I typically see this at most 2 points.
Oh, they're going mid. Oh, we missed the toss back. And now Carl's actually in trouble. He's taking too much damage. Carl's going to have to run away before Limp can get that last hit in. But he's got, Fairy Fire, turn around, and he gets the final nuke. The 4th one to secure the kill onto the Tiny. What a big turn by Limp.
That was really well played. Especially once he recognizes that he's not under threat because of the missed toss back, he immediately starts thinking, I'm killing Tiny here, and he lands it. Really, really good stuff. If he can get the rune now, he'll be in a dominating position.
And it is going to be bottom lane. That'll be contested as Hanskin will be forced to pick up the regen rune by Whitemon.
Yeah, that is big, though, because if you give that to Limp, that is game-breaking. Suddenly he gets like 3 or 4 free camps in the jungle, then comes back mid-level 7, full health, full bottle.
Man, I feel like if Carl kept running, he would have been good, but for whatever reason, he turns back around.
Yeah, I like this from Limp, though. A lot of SFs, for some reason, they tend to stay brown boots for a little too long. I think Razor SF are 2 heroes that almost always should be buying treads, just because, you know, you're always getting a bottle, tread switching, very effective. But more importantly, Limp, like, you already hit so hard. Having just Agi treads, it's one of the most cost-efficient items in Dota in terms of damage output for gold spent. So just very value in this case. S4, poor man, he's level 4. Just trying to jungle.
Disruption into a stomp, so as they're killing neutral creeps, they might be able to kill a slightly bigger unit here. Zephyr, a 5th stack, and I think that'll probably kill. Nice juke. Can he do it again? Oh, the final one lands, and that is his death.
Does get a mana pool and does distract 2 heroes, however. But I mean, this is look at this Luna. He has Tread's Dragon Lance incoming. It's 7.5 minutes into the game. And the other benefit is that he's able to go this more greedy build, 2-2-2 at the moment. Nico Baby, those points in Chaos Bolt may come back to bite him, because you really want max crit just ASAP for your farming speed. And the Chaos Bolt, if you scroll over it, it really doesn't scale well. That's why you typically only see like the 2nd point just to increase the minimum stun duration. But the damage, you know, it goes up from a max 40, min 20 increase. So really just not very point efficient. And more importantly, he's the hard carry for his team. So, we'll see how that pays off. But either way, Luna looks like he's rotated into jungle. Oh my god, look at the stacks. They've already got
they've
so
been ready
many.
for this one. Camp stacked, we're about even with T1 having one more total camp stack. But, did they already clear out the stacks on Alliance's side? I must have missed it. Looks like
looks that way.
So
Either I'm sorry, I mean SF is a way of doing that. No matter how many creeps are in camp, he's killing them about as fast.
And he is going to be going the Hurricane Pike as well, so looks to be more of a right-click build as Echo Saber build up for Nico Baby. I'm almost beginning to wonder if they just picked Chaos Knight because it's an Echo Saber hero. Everyone's buying this item.
It's possible. It's really nice against Luna, to be fair. Like, with no PL available, CK is probably just next best. I was a little surprised. Was Naga banned and I didn't see it?
I do not remember. I didn't notice the Naga ban.
Because I mean, PL Naga, maybe a Terrorblade are what you would look at first, but picking Terrorblade into Doom Lion's a bit awkward, so more likely they're just like, you need an illusion hero, it can buy Echo Saber too, why not?
Oh, damn. That positioning from FNG, that should have been a gank that killing the Chaos Knight or Winter Wyvern. One of them should have died there, but FNG creates just enough confusion and the Stampede gets him out of danger. So no kill on the first rotation from Carl.
Yeah, and Cuckoo not having the greatest time. This isn't going to be that super fat Doom game we saw previously. He didn't get a Midas at 7.5 minutes. Interesting from 23 Savage, though. He skips Mask of Madness. He's going to be rushing Yasha after the Dragonlance. So not as efficient at farming things like the big Ancient stack. You can see it's actually why he's going to back away. No, just kidding. He found a DD, so that is the dream when you have so much gold. And oh, that's why he found the Possessed Mask. So you don't actually need Mask of Madness. That's pretty nice.
Nothing like Possessed Mask to just give you a free change up in your item build. And now they're going to farm out that Ancient stack. Nico Baby is really posturing to try and take this top tower, but I don't know. Cuckoo just seems to be constantly in their way. And if they really need to, they can always bring the Treant Protector up there because Whitemon is now level 6 without the use of the Tome, I believe. So all this solo experience he's gotten bottom lane, thanks to Luna, trying to do, just jungling up constantly, means that they are at a bit of an experience advantage as well. Oh, never mind. Maybe it's just on the support. The Lions is actually ahead in that regard.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Oh, it's Limp too, though. Limp is level 11, so this is just the SF effect, especially when you get that solo kill middle. And yeah, I do like this. It'll be at least starting as the right-click build. I think that Dragonlance into big items is the way to play this hero now. Magic build isn't bad. It's just if you want a magic build SF, you should probably pick a different hero. That would be how I'd look at it. Like Leshrac as an example, who just can itemize solely for survivability and provide earlier tower pressure.
Do you feel like T1 is pressured because this SF is getting so big? I'm like slightly concerned. Do you feel like they're okay with the status quo like they were in game 1?
No, they're certainly playing as if they are. But to your point, they don't really have the best. Well, we talked about how nothing to say in the Leshrac beat T1's Treant. You don't really see Alliance with that same kind of pressure. Sure, you could blow Phantasm and maybe look to make a play for a structure, but so far they're just content to farm their side of the map, and I don't know if I can agree with that because Luna at this pace gets really scary. Yeah, you're playing against enemy counter picks to a degree, but nothing counters you when you're 5 to 10k ahead of the game, and he's on pace to get there at the moment.
They're going to 3-man smoke up. They are not moving to try and defend the safe lane tower. Instead, they're trying to set the pace by going mid behind Limp, expecting somebody to defend this. And it will be the Treant Protector and maybe Carl as well. Carl showing up with the Ace Rune is going to be able to get the toss back before the Winter's Curse could stop him. But now the SF Requiem is going to go out a beautiful hit and just lines up the races. A triple kill for Limp. Make that a quad, potentially? No, man. Lion. He's gonna skedaddle here. Nico Baby's gonna try and chase him down. Actually does manage to catch up. Boy, Chaos Knight's a fast hero. So they get the 4th kill in there as well. Take the mid tower. Great play from Alliance.
Really nice. That was what was missing from that first game, where they would make a move and T1 would be prepared. In this case, yeah, T1, they set up a defense, but Alliance immediately, you can see the Wyvern Curse. Treant, he wants to get the big root off, but by wandering too close, just allows the easiest Requiem stomp setup I've seen in some time. They lose the tier 1 tower as well, and that is somewhat disastrous, really, for T1. All their eggs now firmly in the basket of their Luna, who, as stated, is ahead in net worth, but really not suited at killing SFCK as the game wanes on.
Yep, Nico Baby already having a Sanj after the Echo Saber pickup. Same Sanj pickup for Limp as well, as he's building S and Y. S4 takes the top tower, and this is all before Whitemon. We've seen this before from their Train Protectors, where they go the high levels of Grasp and try and farm up to a point where they can get to level 10, and then they have like higher levels of living armor. But now they've already lost 2 tier 1 towers, and they're not able to play that slow attrition game that T1 usually does with the Treant Protector.
And I would love to see, people don't recognize that Moonglaves are affected by damage block. This is another thing from the Googling before, but I'm going to stampede away just for safety.
That?
Well, you'd be surprised. I don't see any enough Crimson Guards picked up against Luna. That's what I was going to ask for, because if you see Nico Baby run in, let's say he gets Phantasm off, and you Crimson on top of those illusions, the Glaives are just going to get absorbed. So it's not just about keeping CK illusions alive, but then the team of Alliance don't really fear Luna's damage nearly as much. So I do hope S4 goes for the early Crimson here, probably after the blink he's looking at completing now.
What is that? That was 10 to 10 camp stack. So both teams having a very similar idea here, as my NA Quickmans go to work. And as a result, I mean, we're just having kind of if it wasn't for that smoke move from Alliance, we would just have a very slow game. Because what, they got 4 kills in that? Yeah, it would be 2 to 2 right now at 15 minutes with both sides just farming up constantly.
And it was big as well, because it was before Savage could really make his advantage felt. FNG, night vision disadvantage.
Yep. Because of that, they're going to be able to quickly kill FNG. Looks like they were a little bit scared of a Winner's Curse or something.
Well, they certainly got him.
Why did they blow 2 ultimates for him? What the hell?
Unrelated. Carl's going for a Midas cap right after the Blink Dagger. And Cuckoo already has his. So, interesting. T1, this is their style, right? They have these really strong mid-game heroes. Their lanes are tough. But with double Midas plus a Luna, they're not really going to fear Alliance's scaling potential as much.
I would doubt their capabilities of playing this late game, but I've doubted that once before. And I don't know, man. T1 just has a way of making things work. They just seems to have like really good reads on the game in that regard. So we'll see. Double Hannah Midas for them between Cuckoo and Carl, and then a Luna that's constantly farming up stacks. So they're looking to just play the economy game.
Yep, and I love this from Alliance, though. They get Nahaz's favorite, DD Rune outside the Roche pit with Wyvern. You can sustain your heroes as you tank through it. They also have the Medallion, so dies very quickly. And T1, again, double Midas. They're playing for macro, so no real way to threaten Alliance in the pit.
Purge slowing down Cuckoo, but he does manage to blink away first. Hanskin not close enough to get the disruption off, so an ultimate that will be on cooldown, but I kind of doubt that T1, maybe they are. I don't know. I'm kind of doubting that T1 can defend this against an Aegis, but they're setting up like they can, so I guess we're about to find out. They don't even have Carl in the area just yet. Ward placed up on the high ground there. I think Hanskin may have a bit of an inkling that that was done, but you can see this very aggressive Ward right in front of the tier 2. They know that T1 is a team that likes to make these kind of moves, so they're trying to prep for it. They're actually going to smoke over the mid though.
Yeah, it's got to be careful trying to take team fights into the Luna lineup at night Especially when initiation.
Oh, he didn't stampede blink. You need to stampede blink to get the instant damage, but now twice T1 has managed to counter blink the initiation of Alliance.
Huge, and this is the dream for them, because now they've just bought time for themselves. They have no desire to fight into Aegis, and so far they've been able to avoid it. I love the build from Olympia. Dragonlance into Daedalus looks like his choice. It's all about the overwhelming damage pressure, but he might need a BKB first, to be quite honest, because T1, how is he gonna, the root, the doom, the line initiation, the tiny initiation, all of this would just destroy Limp's game. And yeah, you can see the nice reactions from Carl. It's those land reactions right there.
This is so interesting. Both T1 and Alliance were kind of setting up. Alliance did have, thanks to their deep wards, they saw the movements of T1, but they're both playing underneath their vision at some point in time and waiting for the other to crash into them. And because that doesn't happen, T1 instead now playing around their tier 2. Sentry going down. They spot the Observer ward.
Savage with the Grove Bow feels very good. In addition to the Dragonlance, he's now at pretty much base SF range, so won't be as punished by Limp, who will still have a bit of an advantage thanks to the Dragonlance of his own. It's very nice, though, to play around your multiple melee cores. Will the smoke move come out is the question. Aegis still possessed by Limp for another 2.5 minutes. Alliance would really love a fight for a tier 2. Outpost control, very critical this early into a game.
Are they really wanting to go on the Aegis hero here? The ward from T1 spots him, but again, don't want to go on the hero with the extra life right now. They still have Carl, like, farming out these other areas. They're going to smoke themselves in. And this high ground ward of Alliance may be a bit deceiving. The smoke